Well, thank you all for coming and allowing me to spend a little bit of time talking about the levy. The levy is, first of all, it will be on the ballot April 7th, and it is an operational levy. Now, in the past, we have run as a school district bond levies, but we have not run an operational levy since 2003. So on the April 7th ballot, there will be a 24-cent levy that will be the only issue that you will see on the ballot. And I've been asked many times, why is the ISD running an operational levy? Really, it's twofold. First of all is our enrollment. Our enrollment this year topped 14,400 students. For the first time in history, the independent school district is now larger than the Kansas City School District. Since the 2008-2009 school year, we have increased right at 1,300 students. Just from last spring to this fall, we went up approximately 350 students. And if you look at the way our school district is changing, if you look at our kindergarten, first, second, and third grades, they're all approximately 1,200 kids, with our kindergarten class being the largest at nearly 1,300 students. Actually, the last time I looked, it was 1,287 students. And to put this in perspective, if you look at our graduating seniors, hopefully they all graduate, but we have about 950 seniors this year that will move on, but we are bringing in almost 1,300 students. So even without new families coming into the district or houses being built, we are now increasing about 350 students every year. And we're seeing the growth district-wide. A lot of people think that it's just in Western Independence due to the annexation. That's really not the case. We're seeing it at nearly all of our elementary schools. Right now, the biggest concern is our class size, mostly at the elementary schools. But certainly those kids will transition up to the middle schools and then the high schools, and we're really trying to be proactive by running this levy. The second part of this is the revenue piece. The independent school district, just like every other school district, we receive our revenue from three main sources. The first one's the federal government, and typically we get about 10% of our revenue from the federal government, and mostly in the form of Title I funding. So that's one part of the revenue piece. The other part is we will receive money from the foundation formula. The foundation formula is revenue we get from the state, and it's based on a per pupil allocation that comes to each school district. Right now, the foundation formula in the state of Missouri is not fully funded. If it was fully funded, we would receive about $14.5 million additional to what we currently receive every single year. Okay? So then we come to the third part of the revenue piece. That third part is our local revenue. Okay? The local revenue is based on assessed valuation. Assessed valuation is what your home is assessed at, or your vehicles. So whenever you pay property tax, you have an assessed valuation, and based upon that, you pay money to the libraries, to the county, to the city, but then also to the independent school district. I came in 2008, 2009, and since that time, the independent school district's assessed valuation has dropped over $100 million. So to put that in perspective, with that $100 million AV drop, that's $4.5 million less of revenue every single year that we've received since 2008, 2009. This levy that we're proposing on April 7th brings back $2 of the $4.5 million that we have lost. So really, it's bringing back actually less than half of what we've lost since 08-09. Right now, the issue is we are receiving more and more students, but our revenues continue to decline in the independent school district. It's a great thing that we continue to see more kids come into our school district, but anytime that you combine that additional growth, and we've adjusted that additional growth with new elementary schools at Little Blue and Mallinson elementary schools, but it makes it very hard whenever our revenues continue to decline. Some of the ways that we have been creative in saving money in the independent school district, we became the first school district between Terre Haute, Indiana, and Houston, Texas to put its own health clinic in. That saves us about $1.2 million every single year. We've refinanced millions and millions of dollars of bonds, much like your home mortgage. We have bonds here that anytime that our interest rate gets lower, we'll refinance those bonds so that our taxpayers pay less in bond and interest for our buildings. We have a company that we work with, and they monitor our energy efficiency 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that saves us about $500,000 every year. We became the first school district in history that we are our own captive. What a captive is we are our own insurance company for workers' comp, and that saves us about $500,000 every year. So we've tried to be very creative as far as doing things that will save taxpayer money and make ends meet, but as our enrollment continues to grow, it becomes increasingly difficult. Our budget is not keeping up with our growth, and I think that's very apparent for those who are in our schools from time to time. Our class size is getting to a level that we're really not comfortable with. I like to give my my own daughter's class as an example. She was or is an elementary student, and last year as a first grader, she had 32 kids in her first grade classroom. That's more than what we obviously would really like to see, not only for my child, but for all of the kids in the independent school district. Without additional dollars, the classroom size will continue to grow. And we won't have funding for things like the academies of the ISD. Many of you may have heard about that. We are now the 18th school district in the United States where we will be a Ford Next Generation Learning Academy school district. And with this, we will designate $100,000 of the revenue annually to pay for the academies of the ISD. And then we always want to make sure that our salaries and benefits are competitive for our teachers and all of our employees. Right now, if you look at the levies within the metro school districts on the Missouri side, you will notice one thing that's very apparent, and that is the fact that the independent school district has the lowest operating levy of anywhere in the metro Missouri side. Okay? Again, we are proposing as a school district a 24-cent levy increase. What that would equate to is we are now the second lowest within the metro area. Okay. What this means to the normal taxpayer, the average or the median home value in Independence is about $103,000. So if you look at a home that's assessed at $100,000, that homeowner would pay an additional $3.80 per month in additional taxes. Here's how we would spend that $2 million. Okay. Again, going back, we've lost $4.5 million locally since 08-09. This brings back $2 million of it. Of that $2 million, $1.4 million would be used to lower classroom size and to ensure that salaries and benefits are competitive for our employees. We'd have $100,000 for the career academies, like I spoke about a little bit earlier, and then we would set aside $500,000 for HVAC and roof maintenance within the independent school district. We have pockets of classes where we have more than 30 kids per classroom, which certainly isn't ideal. So even though we may have instances where the classes are small in some schools or certain grade levels, the trend that we see is that we are graduating approximately 950 seniors, but bringing in almost 1,300 kindergartners. We're just trying to be proactive to make sure that we get on top of this so we don't see large classroom sizes throughout the entire school district. If the levy would pass, it would bring in approximately $2 million to the ISD. We've earmarked $1.4 million of that to lower classroom size, and really what that means is hiring more teachers. And we've also decided to set aside $100,000 for career academies, and then $500,000 to update and improve HVAC and roofs throughout the school district per year. A bond and a levy are very, very different. A bond is for bricks and mortar. So anytime we're going to do additions or build additional schools, we pass a bond issue. A levy is what keeps the lights on and pays teachers, pays staff. So very different things. The last time the ISD asked for a levy increase was 2003. So if you put it in perspective, we're asking for 24 cents, and we have not had a levy increase for 12 years. So that's about 2 cents per year. Currently, the ISD has the lowest levy on the Missouri side in the metro of any of the school districts. We're at $4.43 per $100 of assessed valuation. If you add an additional 24 cents, we are still the second lowest of any of the metro school districts.